favorite.
Gracias por estar con nosotros una vez más y tenemos uno de las series favoritas de los últimos tiempos, por lo menos de Ivette Salgado, y sé que de muchísimos de ustedes, o me equivoco cuando hablamos de The Last of Us, Ivette.
No te equivocas, y sé que muchos fans del videojuego y eventualmente llegaron a la serie, pues también están esperando esta segunda temporada, o lo estaban haciendo, porque ya podemos tener ahí cada fin de semana un episodio diferente, y la verdad es que desde que esta segunda temporada arrancó, no ha dejado a nadie insatisfecho.
La verdad es que ya lo hemos platicado, yo no soy de esas personas que le encanten los zombies. Particularmente estoy aprendiendo a absorber la cultura del videojuego en otros medios audiovisuales, pero The Last of Us sí va más allá y tiene a Pedro Pascal, que es sin duda uno de los actores más consentidos del mundo ahorita, y tiene un elenco y un productor importantes que están haciendo cosas y con quienes hablaste.
Exacto, que de hecho el creador es Craig Mazin, que está súper de la mano con el creador mismo del videojuego, okay. Y ahí sabemos que la historia y la narrativa van de la mano al videojuego, que además es un videojuego que sí tiene una historia, que sí tiene profundidad para los personajes, que tienen un pasado, y por eso hace tan rica una serie.
Pues vamos a ver qué te dijo él.
Right. How have you handled the impact of the story since its debut? And what challenges did you face while working on the second season?
Well, anytime you follow up something that's worked well, there is a lot of pressure, and you feel that, there's a lot of expectations, and Neil and I talked a lot about sort of making all that go away, and just the two of us getting into a room and repeating the process that we did for the first season as best we could, because we knew that that's what worked in the first place. That's why people had the reaction they did to season one. And I think we were able to successfully do that, but we were also working with a much bigger story, a bigger canvas, not just because a second season needs to be bigger than a first season. Sometimes it should be smaller. It depends on what the story wants.
So in this part of the story, Ellie's relationship with other characters become even more intense. What challenges did you face in exploring this connection in such an unforgiving world like The Last of Us?
Well, I'll tell you a little writing secret. The more complicated and difficult circumstances are between characters, the easier it is to write, because there's something to talk about. There's something that matters. And these characters, Joel and Ellie, have gone through this remarkable journey that ends in this very upsetting, beautiful, conflicted way, and then this lie that he tells her. And so, in addition, we see Ellie growing up, and that gives us so much fuel to write and to explore. And so I was just grateful for the fantastic source material to work with there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in season 2, we meet new characters and new storylines. How do you stay true to the essence of The Last of Us while adding new elements to keep the story exciting for both, not only fans, newcomers?
It's not so much about giving people novelty as much as it is about just filling out, I think, what was already there, because we have more room to do it dramatically on television.
And the last one, after all these years, following the story of The Last of Us, what lessons has it taught to you, both as a creator but also as a person? And what do you hope people takes away from a story like this?
Well, so much of the story is about empathy. And I think exploring that individually, I do think about that a lot, but I also think a lot about parenthood. I love the fact that my job lets me explore that through storytelling, which is a safe way for people to experience these things, and then maybe, hopefully, give them pause in their own lives when they feel like maybe they're in a situation that is thematically similar to the story they've watched.
Sí, sé que ahí la cosa con el hongo. Sé que hay cosas.
Hay cosas que no se pueden decir porque son spoilers.
Bueno, pero a ver, si juegas mucho el videojuego,
si jugaron el videojuego, saben que viene para esta temporada, sin duda alguna.
Ok, ok. Y sabemos que pues la protagonista junto con Pedro,
Exacto, Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey pues,
está en otra etapa de su vida, que es también lo interesante, saber que dejó de ser esa niñita que empezó con la historia del videojuego y ahora está en una etapa dentro de la historia en los 19 años, que va un poco acorde con su edad real. Pues qué tanto el personaje también la hizo crecer y viceversa, es justo de lo que también comparte un poco Bella.
In a couple of years since the first season, and your character has grown. She's a teenager who is shaping her identity and forming important personal connections. In what way do you relate to Ellie?
Well, I'm 21 now, and I was 17 when I started on The Last of Us for season 1. So like I've changed and grown and developed a lot as a person over those years, and obviously so has Ellie. So I think that obviously informs how I play her, like just naturally, not even really consciously. Like I've grown up, and so therefore so has she.
Yeah, that's true. So the story takes place 5 years after the events of the season one, in a world that is still in chaos, with humanity struggling to survive. So what does this story make you reflect on, and what do you hope people takes away from it?
Well, I hope for some people, I think the show, The Last of Us, and any like TV show like that's so like immersive like that, it can be like a really amazing form of distraction and escape, like escapism from the world and the real events and everything that's going on. And on the other hand, I think that it can like open up conversations and people can start talking about some of the themes like extreme love and loss and grief and anger and revenge and all of those complicated things and feelings that we all sort of know and experience. So I hope that people will get out of it whatever they want to get out of it. That either they'll be entertained or that they'll be that thoughts will be provoked.
Yeah, absolutely. This story has clearly created a strong bond between you and Pedro Pascal. What would you like to say to him now about the world that did you get together and the connection that really shines through the screen?
Yeah, I absolutely love working with him, and we just have the best time. And I really think that we're bonded forever. I think doing something like The Last of Us, where the actual workload is so intense, you're like carrying each other this through this world and through the experience of not only the shooting of it, but then when it comes out and the attention of it all. And I think that we really took great care of each other on set. Well, I think that we both have a lot of love and care for each other, and he's so generous as a person, and is someone who's like really maintained his sense of like self and who he is through it all, which is really cool. And I love him.
What would you say to the people, to the girls that feel relate to you and to your character?
I'd like to say that hopefully they will be able to see themselves in Ellie and in the characters and in the relationships, and that I think what the show does so well is like representation of all different ways to like be a human being. There's like the strength of the character of Ellie as like a young woman in like a very dangerous world, like, but I don't think she really thinks about it. She just like is as she is, and I hope that other people can just like be able to live just as they are.
Y hay más personajes, hay personajes que poco a poco pues el público se va, y en esta serie no es buena idea luego enamorarte de uno, o de aguantar, pero tienes
en
tienes
este
más
tipo de historias donde con los zombies no se sabe qué va a pasar.
No se sabe con los zombies, ese es el problema de siempre.
Pero sí hay personajes que siguen de la primera temporada. De hecho, esta nueva temporada también tiene nuevos personajes que conocemos y identificamos ahora como los que van a cambiar la línea de lo que viene para la historia. Pero bueno, a quienes tenemos ahora es a Gabriel Luna y a Rutina Wesley hablando precisamente de lo que ha sido tanto la primera, todo el éxito y lo que viene con esta segunda temporada.
Well, the first question is for you. Tommy and Joel share a complex relationship filled with love but also tension. So how do you approach playing a character with so many emotional layers and complexities?
That's a great question. Yeah, Well, when we find them in the first season, first you see us as a very happy small family, my brother, myself, and his daughter Sarah, and then of course tragedy strikes, and then start of the second season, we get to see he's been with us. He's been with us in Jackson. He's become a really great uncle to our son Benjamin, but I still have, while there's a lot of warmth and a lot of restoration of our old relationship, I think there's still a lot of tension because of tension that exists between Joel and Ellie, and how I have to be the go-between between them, and I'm kind of getting pulled in two directions.
Rutina, Maria plays a key role in this season as someone who tries to maintain hope in the middle of the chaos. How do you connect with this strong but also protective character, and what challenges did you face while portraying her?
I was definitely drawn to her strength. I love to play strong women. I always have. So, but I'm trying to think. I think it was a challenge because she was so strong and there wasn't a lot of vulnerability. It was just this kind of Gabe calls her the general, and so she's just like a hard knot she's keep that, and then you can't untie her. So that was like a challenge, but what was beautiful was when, for this season, having Benji, our son, who's this gift to us. And I think you just see a softer side of Maria. And I think it's nice to play that vulnerability. I mean, for me as an actor, I love playing characters that have a nice vulnerable side too, that kind of have a balance.
Bueno, entonces la temporada ya empezó, pero vienen más capítulos y vienen varias sorpresas. Y The Last of Us está en Max.
Exactamente, allí pueden encontrar ambas temporadas y pues bueno, qué gusto saber que hay videojuegos que dentro de esta industria tan lucrativa, además, incluso quizá más que Hollywood.
Lo es, por mucho.
Está generando este tipo de sinergias entre el entretenimiento audiovisual, televisión y lo que es el videojuego.
Pues simplemente ve lo que pasa en el cine ahorita con Minecraft y lo que pasó hace ya casi 2 años con Mario Bros.
Exactamente.
Así que bueno, yo Mario Bros sí la entendía, ¿eh? Esta película sí la entendí.
Hay videojuegos de los que sí somos.
Exactamente. Sigo esperando el de la viborita que se va comiendo puntitos y el Pong.
Ok.
Bueno. Gracias, Ivette.
Gracias, Susi, un gusto.
Pac-Man, okay. No, la de Pac-Man fue mala. Gracias. Bye.